game once at a time. We'll just move on. Going from baseball, now going to the good old NFL. Talk about our Packers and not something on the lineup, but I can't help fail to mention how great the running game was yesterday. Eddie Lacy and Starks both had great games, balancing out that great passing attack.
That's kind of scary, man. You put two backs in the backfield, and you got Aaron Rodgers. I mean, what else do you need here? I mean, it's like picking candy out of the candy store. There, you can't get any better than that. I mean, how relaxed has Rodgers looked?
Yeah.
The last two games with knowing that you got a 100-yard back beside you. I mean, that just gives him more confidence and confidence. But I'll let you break into some more down there. Don't mean to jump in there, Ben.
No, you're good. No, man, it's something that I feel like we haven't had a bruiser since Amon Green, years ago. As far as somebody who can make the play action something that safeties and secondaries are going to bite on, because the past couple of years, a play action from the Packers just like it's kind of almost a joke in a way. As far as they're like there's like Rodgers ain't going to hand it off. He's going to roll out and throw a 60-yard bomb to Jordy Nelson, a back shoulder fade, and he'll get it. That's kind of what the Packers have developed. But when you put a lethal running back and Eddie Lacy in, and like I said, like Adrian Peterson for the Vikings, he's doing his job, being like one of the top 5, best running back in the league, getting 100, 200 yards a game. Eddie Lacy doesn't quite have to do that. Eddie Lacy just needs to get around 100 or so yards, just enough to get some pressure off of Rodgers, making the linebackers crash in.
I don't think he's got to have 100, man. I think 55 or 60 is safe.
Yeah. I mean, I totally agree. But I mean, if he keeps getting 100, I'm not going to complain whatsoever.
No doubt. I don't think fantasy owners will either.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of my friends that know I'm a Packers fan say, "Oh, hey Ben, by the way, I picked up Eddie Lacy." I'm like, "Hey, he's gonna be good."
It's gonna be good one day, kid.
he's a bulldozer. He's not some small running back. He's a good every down back. As we're both Carolina fans, it would have been nice to get Giovanni Bernard, but me and my brother talked about it, Andy, saying how Gio's not big enough to be every down back in the NFL, something Eddie Lacy is, and the fact that the Packers traded their pick back farther in the draft, I thought, great, we're not going to get Eddie Lacy, but nevertheless, he still fell into our laps, and it was just a great opportunity, and he was probably one of the best picks the Packers have had in a while as far as a skill position player.
Definitely, man, and I was talking to somebody the other day, and I said, they were asking about the Panthers and all this different stuff, and we started talking about draft stuff. If you look out on the wide receivers for the Packers, I don't think there's a 4th round. I think 4th round is the lowest round we've taken a receiver. Is that correct? 4th or 5th round?
I definitely agree. Besides Cobb.
It's all about your scouting directors, and I mean, Eddie Lacy was just a gift. I mean, you had to take him. You had to do what you had to do, and I was happy when we got him. I was like, okay, we'll get him in a little bit more every down shape, and he's good to go. He's something else, Ben. He's something else for sure.
And I think he might stick around for a while, because the stat they put up last night on the NBC board, something that was actually quite amazing. Every other team in the NFL only has at the most 40 players on their active roster who have only played for that same team. Packers, 50 of the 53 players on the active roster have only played for the Green Bay Packers.
That's a great stat there, Ben. And we know one of our foes were playing across the ball from us yesterday, but we won't go into that topic. That's for another podcast, another time here.
All I know is that particular player's hashtag is always be great, and last night he was not great.
We're not going to call any names or anything.
We'll leave it at that. But we can go on to another one of our conference foes, Megatron, Calvin Johnson versus Dez Bryant. I mean, that game was just about a video game. We saw, we're pretty sure this is accurate stat, with Calvin Johnson 327 yards. That's second among all receivers all time for most yards in a receiving game. And Dez Bryant didn't quite have as many yards, but he had a top number 1 play on top 10 plays as far as a great catch on the sideline. So Dez Bryant and Calvin Johnson are definitely emerging in the league. We knew they'd be great elite receivers, but they're both young, and they're both making a solid name for themselves in their respectable organizations and pretty much all across the league of National Football.
So, Ben, I got a question for you.
What is it?
Are you taking Megatron, or are you taking Dez Bryant? If you're building a team with one receiver, which I'd
have to go with Megatron. I mean, and it's hard to say just because of the fact Like I don't want to judge any player on off the field issues because what happened in the past is in the past. But
Yep, yep.
but you saw Dez Bryant. I mean, and we can't assume things because we don't know the full story. But Dez Bryant had some attitude troubles last night on the sideline. He was probably really frustrated knowing that he had such a great game. But it's pointless now when you got. I mean, an L is an L, whether it's 31-30 like it was last night, or if it's 30-7. A loss is a loss, and probably heartbreaking for Dez Bryant putting his heart out there. But you saw a little confrontation between him and Jason Witten, a well-established tight end in the league, trying to calm down the young receiver. So you hope to see that Dez Bryant will calm down some. Of course, we'll give it to him last night. He had a great game, a heck of a game, and still came out with a loss. But I guess
I
all in
think it
all,
was a little frustrating to know that you were up by 17 and then you didn't hold on to the game, and that's I think what happened there with Dez Bryant. Not giving him an excuse or anything to blow up like that and yell at Jason Witten because Jason Witten is the man. But it was one of those things where it was like, I'm helpless, I can't do anything yet. I got to stand here and take it like a man, and no one likes to get beat, no matter
exactly.
what, no matter who you are. I don't think.
Yeah.
So.
It's just kind of like being held back by two people and somebody stealing your candy. You can't do anything about it.
That's right.
You just got to watch it.
That's an accurate assessment. Did you see the other stat there? 16 teams have not thrown for 327 yards this year in the NFL. That's half the NFL teams.
And that's pretty sad.
As a total yards, not one guy. Isn't that a crazy stat there? I heard that earlier today.
And that's something that you hope would change, knowing with the NFL being a quarterback league. I mean, we can have a whole entire segment just on quarterback issues in the NFL.
Goodness,
I mean,
yeah.
I don't want to go into it too much, but like, how would you feel if you were a quarterback trying to make it Tim Tebow, Vince Young, and you hear the Rams trying to call it 44-year-old Brett Favre? Like, how would you feel if you were one of those two quarterbacks trying to make it? I mean, it's just it's a quarterback league. And
it is a quarterback league,
and and you hope to see. And personally, I mean, like going another I'm going off topic once again, but the release of Vince Young is something I still do not get to this day. I know Seneca Wallace knows the offense and everything, but I mean, I just hope the best for Vince Young. But I kind of wish we could have kept him, second and third string scout something, because I think, I mean, look at his stats in college and when he first came into the league. He's a great player. He had a couple.
He's a winner.
He's a winner. He knows how to win, what to do. Great size. It might have been out of shape for a little bit, but I think it's something you can obviously work on. But something you can't teach is just being a winner, and that's something that he was. So I mean, hopefully we get a shot.
I completely understand that one, Ben. And the only thing is, like, now that when you're drafting people, you don't just look at their on the field stuff. You start looking at their background and their past and who they hang out with. And there's some red flags up in certain areas that scouts have said, hey, I don't know about this section or this what he does or anything or who he hangs out with. A lot of draft stock, you drop on the board because who you hang out with, who you associate with. I mean, you look at the NBA, they're definitely all the way across like that. Now the NFL is starting to figure it out too. Major League Baseball is finally on board. They're starting to buy into this stuff. Hey, you hang out with bad people. I don't know if we need you on our sideline or not,
Exactly. I mean, I totally agree. And that's something, that they need to work on, especially if you're trying to make it in this league. Any little hiccup, there's somebody that can take your plays right behind you. Something, you always need to work on.